Morning again. As always, hopefully everyone had a productive week, a great week, and something to build off for this new week that's coming up. Um, Obviously, last few days of March as we get ready for April. Hopefully, this month was productive. Hopefully, this month gave you a platform to pretty much build what you're going to do in the month of April. As we go into, again, 2025 has been pretty good to me. Uh, it has not been without its ups and downs, as we've all dealt with ups and downs, obviously. But 2025 has been pretty good so far, and so we're going into now the fourth month of the year. We probably know what we want to do. We probably have a plan for the things that we're going to do. And we probably, like myself, I've realized some things I don't want to do, some things I have plans to do, um, and they probably just won't work out, or they're not in the plans anymore. Uh, and that's a part of life. That's a part of figuring things out. That's a part of living. Like you're gonna have moments, and you're gonna have things that you want to pursue that you really either shouldn't, or it's no longer important. And so once we realize that life is bigger than that, or our current life is bigger than that, then I think it allows us to pursue other avenues or other opportunities that we think are more important for us and for our life at that moment. I mean, sometimes it's not really about not being good at something or really about not having time for something. It's just it's not the time for that. Right? Like in that moment there are other things that I could be doing more productive, other things I could be doing that can that's gonna help me grow and improve on my day to day functions as opposed to just doing something because you really want to do it or doing something because you like it. Um, we just got to stop doing things just to do them. Like if they don't improve us, they don't help us, they don't grow us, they don't challenge us. I don't think you should be doing it. Because I think that the ultimate goal is growth. It's reaching your full potential, and wasting time. I think is something that we shouldn't be doing. I I, I do it like I'm human, like right. When I say we shouldn't be doing some things, like there's a lot of things throughout the day that we shouldn't be doing, that we shouldn't be focusing on. But we're humans. We're gonna stray off the path. It's just about getting refocused and getting back on task. So that's that's really what this year has been about. Just staying on task for me. Like whatever plans I have, whatever thoughts I have, whatever goals, ambitions I have, just sticking to them. But also at the same time refining them, like going in and seeing what works for me and what doesn't work for me, what I don't want to do, what's not good for me, and just making those decisions. Um, I really want to talk about though is getting like we all want something in life. We all pursue something. We all like nobody's just really just here and living. Like we want to get things accomplished. We want to get things done. We want to reach our full potential. I think in order to do that, right, you have to give everything that you have. You have to give everything that's inside of you. Um, Most of the time, even myself, we don't do that. We don't go 100%. We'll kind of dip our toes in it, like, but we won't go all in. We won't put everything in it. I don't know if that's fear of failing. I don't know if that's not possessing it enough. I don't know. I really don't. But I deal with that too. It was not like I'm getting on here pointing fingers as to why we're not successful or why we don't reach our full potential or why we don't achieve our goals and dreams. Like the truth is it's almost like it's human nature not to go all in. Like if this is something that you really want, if this is something that you really desire, why wouldn't you put everything into it? Like you hear people say there's no such thing as a plan B, uh, because it takes away from plan A. Like I definitely understand that. I definitely get that point of view because your only focus should be on plan A. Your only focus should be on what's important right now. Your only focus should be on your goals and your dreams and your aspirations and your ambitions. It shouldn't be on other things that keep you away from that. Like whatever plan A is, that should be your focus. Now, if you have different plans for different parts of your life, then that's different. But having four plans for one day, I guess tough. You're not going to be able to get to all four, and if you do all four, you're not going to do all four at a at the highest level. And that's what I'm talking about. More so, doing everything you can to achieve your goal. Like nothing else should matter. Nothing else should be in front of it. Nothing else should have your attention. Like focusing 100% everything in you on achieving this goal, this plan, executing the plan. Like you can't be distracted with plan B. You can't be distracted with plan C because you get into a situation where you really just want to complete the task. And so okay, you go through plan A, you go through plan B, you go through plan C. Like in one day, yes, you've completed three plans, but are all three plans complete at the highest level? Are you just getting B's and just moving on? I mean, B's are good enough, but if you're talking about you want to be the very best and you want to do the best that you could, like why would you settle for B's if you can get A's? That's the thing. Like I think Denzel Washington said, "Don't confuse movement with progress. Just because you're getting a lot done, don't mean you're doing a lot. It don't mean you're achieving a lot. Like just because you're completing a bunch of tasks doesn't mean that you're doing it at a high level. You're just doing it. Like, and if that's the goal to just do it, then I mean, like Nike, just do it. Like, but I think it to me more. Like, I want to be the very best at what I do, and like this podcast is not something I'm looking at. Oh, I want to be the very best at doing podcasts. No, but I do want to put everything into the mental health aspect of this podcast. I'm not just gonna wing it every week. I really want to put effort into the thoughts and the words that I'm saying. The podcast is the podcast, right? It's a podcast, but I want I believe there's power to my words, and so I don't want to get on here and just say anything just to have a really great podcast. I don't care about being the number one podcast in the world. That's not important to me if I'm not reaching the right audience. If I'm not helping change lives, I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing this to be known. I'm doing this because I see a void and I want to make a difference. And so, if it's one person that I make a difference every week, that's one more than I did. But it's not because of money. It's not like I being the very best at this and really being efficient at this is more important. Now, if this is some regular sports talk show or I was talking about different other entities and different other avenues in life, then yeah. But when you're talking about someone's overall health, um, I don't think the numbers really matter like that. I don't. I just think it's more important to reach the target audience as opposed to having a bunch of likes and follows and subscribers per se. Like every week, this the numbers go up and down and stuff like that. But as long as it reaches someone, as long as it helps someone, and That's all it's about. Like I'm gonna give everything to the content of this podcast, not essentially the podcast. Like I'm not promoting and throwing it all around, and like that's the importance is that someone watches this, listens to this, and they get something from it that helps them along the journey of their mental health because we all deal with it. Like if this podcast goes viral and it's nationwide, yes, it helps more people. That is the goal, to help as many people as possible. Um, but I don't want it to be some like that's not the goal of this. The goal of this is to be effective, efficient, to not to put more content out. It's not the goal. I don't want to put a whole lot of content out just to put content out. That doesn't help anyone. And that's what like when you're doing stuff like it's you look at whatever your dream, whatever your goal is, doing it a whole lot doesn't mean you're doing it effectively. Doesn't mean you're doing it at the best of your ability. You're just doing it. And that's what we have to realize that, in this day and age, this era, this generation, it's just more about clicks and uh, clout and stuff like that. And I mean, listen, if that's what it is, that's what it is. Like, I don't want to be one of those older guys that puts down on the younger generation because, I mean, we all have flaws. I talked about that last week. We all have flaws. We all have things we need to improve on. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. That's the generation. That's the times, and we have to get with them. Like we have to get to that level, so we can reach that target on in this generation. Like I can't get on here and talk bad and say this and that. Like at the end of the day, no one's perfect. How can I help? How can I assist? How can I serve this generation? And the best way to do that is the podcast. They listen to this. They read this. And they watch this. So I'm gonna meet them where they at because they're all struggling with the same things older generations are struggling. Like everyone is struggling with mental health, and a lot of it comes from expectations. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and he was not complaining. Like I don't want to say the word complaining, but he was agitated. He was upset because he just wanted more from what he was doing and the people he was working with. And I had to say, like a lot of our mental issues, a lot of our discrepancies, a lot of our struggles are with expectations. And even in his, being a veteran in the game, right, he still set expectations without really knowing who he was dealing with because he wanted that. This is the thing. That's probably not what they want. And we really ask the people that we work with or that we oversee or supervise what they want, it's probably not a fit. But as a leader and not a manager, our job is to really meet them where they at so that we can achieve the goal that we all want. And me and him talked and he being frustrated, like that's a part of life. Like you're gonna be frustrated. But the thing is you gotta ask yourself why are you frustrated? Like is it because of you? Is it because of the people you work with? Is it because of the standard? Is it because of the expectations? 9 times 10 is the expectations that we put on others, that we want for ourselves and that we want them to achieve. That's probably not their goal. It's probably not their vision for their life. And if it is, they just probably don't understand. Most people are not trying to run into a wall every time. Like the truth is they just don't know how to solve an issue. And the only way they know how to do it is to continue to run through that wall. That doesn't make it right or wrong. That's all they know. It's our job to teach them. It's our job to show them. It's our job to, when I was a high school teacher, they used to tell us model it. Like don't just get on the board and write on the board and talk and like model for the students what you want done. And so that was my suggestion to it. Like model it. Show them your expectations instead of just saying and then banging your head against the wall when they don't achieve it because they don't know. Like If your goal for them is to be the very best, you got to show them what the very best looks like. The problem that we have in society is so many people are telling people what to do and they don't know how to do it themselves. You're just talking. Like, and that's the difference between a leader and a manager. That's the truth. That's been something I've been wanting to say for a long time. Like, we work in a world that all they want to do is point to the direction they want you to go, or the direction or the assignment they want you to do. That's the truth. Like, they can't model it for you. They can't show you how to do it because they've never done it. That's not a leader. A leader models. And even if the leader's never done it, right? Even if they've never been in that situation, they do so much study and research because they know the people that are listening to them need them and need the proper answers. They're not just going to tell them do it because of my position or do it because of my authority. That's not a leader. A leader shows you. A leader models it. A leader demonstrates it so that you understand and know why we're doing it. Not because I say to do it. If you're around those type of people that tell you do it because I say do it, listen, get away from them. Like, because they're not teaching you anything. They're just talking. That was a big part of, the development in me as an educator, modeling what I wanted for my students. And listen, it doesn't mean everything I say is correct. No, I'm just in a position of authority. Um, and this is what they're requiring all of us to do. So I want to make sure you have a clear understanding of what the expectations are. That's it. That is it. And we used to have to write that on the board every morning for the daily task, so that the students knew what we were doing and understood the expectation. There was no discrepancy. There was no argument. We knew it was clear and concise. Every morning when they walked in, it had to be written on the board. And that's what the gist of our conversation was yesterday. It's not putting you down and putting him down and putting them down. Like, yeah, you're gonna be frustrated, but you gotta be careful when you're frustrated and saying things because you might say something you don't really want to say and you can't take it back. It's not their fault. It's all they know. How can we achieve our goal as a group through this process? That's what a great leader is. Forcing you, right? Mentally challenging you to greater heights, things that you didn't even think were possible. That's like that whole conversation yesterday evening was something that I like weekly. I look forward to those conversations because we all go through things. Like, we all deal with things, but are you giving everything? And it was just a random phone call, right? Like, that just came from not nowhere, right? We had reached out to each other a few times, missed each other. But he's a really good friend of mine. I want him to succeed. I want the people he worked with to succeed because this is his big moment. This is his opportunity that he's been waiting for years. And so when we get these opportunities, right, and we pray for these, we work for it, and then we get these opportunities, and it's so easy to complain. It's so easy to fall victim to the circumstances. It's so easy to moan and gripe about the situation. This is the thing. You chose the situation. You asked for this. You wanted this, and complaining ain't gonna fix it. How can I adapt, adjust, redirect? How can I function at a high level in an uncertain situation? Because it's here, and me complaining is not gonna help it. Me complaining is not gonna help them. We still have a task to complete, and we need to do everything possible to achieve the goal. Was anything outside of that is a failure. And you can go back on your failures, and I promise you spent more time complaining than you did doing. That's human nature. It's not Like I complain. I gripe, I moan. I like because our expectations. That's the only reason we deal with things the way we do. We go into a situation thinking it's a certain way, and when it's not, we're disappointed. That's it. Like if we went to things with no expectations, we would never be disappointed. But we're not gonna solve life that way. We're gonna no matter what, we go into relationships, we go into jobs, we go into school, we go into getting a new car, buying a new house. There are always expectations that we create. And then when someone else that have no idea about these expectations don't meet them, then it's a problem. That's why I enjoy teaching because of that. We set clear expectations and it allows for healthy discussion and dialogue. Okay, why we're not reaching it. We know the expectation, we know the guideline, we know the criteria, we know that it's all right, it's outlined. And so why are we not fulfilling it? If you have an issue with something, let's not complain and argue, right? Let's build a plan together as how we can fix it. First, you have to identify the problem. And once you identify the problem, then it's you create a plan. How do we fix this? How do we improve this? How do we uh, change this? And then you challenge each other. Let's do it this way, this way, this way, this way. And then you can get to the root of it. Then you can achieve what your goal is. But not having a plan is not gonna work. Like not giving everything, not putting your best foot forward, complaining, griping, like that's not gonna work. It's not gonna fix anything. So if you have dreams, you have goals, you have ambitions, you want to do something, right? You gotta set clear expectations and you gotta put everything in it. Like don't test the waters. Dive in it, jump in it. Do the very best that you can with everything that you have. As I keep saying, it's like my grandmother told me this a long time ago. You have everything you need to succeed within you. There's nothing that you need outside of you. It's inside you. Those gifts, those talents, those dreams, they come from somewhere. And not just thoughts in your head. They're pictures of what's to come. That's all it is. And it's there to motivate you. It's there to push you. It's there, when you're at the brink of quitting or giving up, like you have these dreams, you have these thoughts. It's really saying keep going. Like you have it inside you. Don't quit now. Like you can do it. But you gotta set those expectations. Like you gotta clear. They have to be clear. Like obviously everybody wants to win. Like that's not an expectation. That's a standard. The expectation leads to that, but it leads to it through the standard. Like that's that. I can't speak on it enough because you'll become miserable. You will become miserable. You will hurt yourself, harm yourself. You will drain yourself. Chasing a ghost, chasing a wind when you don't have clear expectations, clear guidelines for what you're trying to achieve. And then give everything. Like I can't say that enough. Like give everything. Don't just 50-50. Don't just 60-40. Give 100%. And you'll reap the benefits. Like they say, you shoot for the moon. If you miss, you'll fall. You'll land amongst the stars. Like that's giving everything. And while you might not, like, it's not 100% chance that you're gonna achieve your goal, but you'll learn something for the next challenge. You're not always gonna be successful. That's not true. You're not always gonna win. Your best learning experiences come from your losses, come from your defeats. And now I know what not to do. There is no such thing as failure. You learn. Even when you win, you learn. Always learn. Always get something from what you do. Stay proactive. Always learn. Always learn. You can't go halfway on something you really want. If that's the case, if you're okay with going halfway on something you really want, you don't really want. Yes, there's no other way to put it. If you really, really want something, you gotta give everything. You gotta pour every part of you into it, and you'll get something from it. That's. I'm eager to see how that goes with that after that conversation. I'm like, I know it's gonna be productive because I know the type of person he is. I know what he's gonna put into it, and so um, hopefully the same for you all. Same thing for me. Like it's things that I want to do in April. It's things that I want to finish this month out strong that I'm going to, and I hope you all do the same. Keep going. Keep moving forward. Stop thinking that you're not enough. Stop thinking you don't have enough. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. You were put on this earth for a purpose. You're here to solve a problem. The gifts and talents that you have will open doors for you. We'll put you in rooms. We'll sit you at tables. You just gotta let it shine. Do not dim your light. It's gonna be okay. It's not as bad as it seems. It's never as bad as we make it. Keep pushing. Keep moving forward. Keep doing your thing. I appreciate you all. I love you all. Be blessed.